Hello everybody, how are you? This time we're going to read an expository essay, Single Room Earth View by Sally Ride. Before we read, I want you to know about First American Woman in Space. Sally Ride's first mission in space aboard the Challenger lasted 6 days. During that time, she helped deploy several space satellites. She embarked on another space mission in October 1984. During that mission, her assignment was to make scientific observations of Earth. Space Shuttle Travel. Space Shuttle, also called Space Transportation System, STS, partially reusable rocket launch vehicle designed to go into orbit around Earth to transport people and cargo to and from orbiting spacecraft and to glide to a runway landing on its return to Earth's surface that was developed by the U.S. National Aeronautics and Space, NASA. Science Connection. A German meteorologist named Alfred Wegener proposed the theory of continental drift in 1912. He suggested that he shape and fit one of the continents, and distribution of similar fossils and rock layers around the planet supported his theory. Based on his observations, Wegener proposed that all of today's modern continents were once part of a supercontinent called Pangaea, or Old Earth. As Earth's rock plates moved millions of years ago, Pangaea broke apart and the modern continents took shape. Literary analysis, expository essay. An expository essay is a short piece of nonfiction that presents information, discusses ideas, or explains a process. The writer may use a variety of techniques to provide support, depth, and context. Description, including language that appeals to the senses. For example, description appeals to one or more of the senses. If the essay is about a process, the writer may include vivid descriptions to help readers see the steps involved. As you read, notice to what senses descriptive passages in the essay appeal. Comparison and contrast, showing similarities and differences between two or among more than two items. For example, writers often compare and contrast the subject of their essays with something else to help clarify their ideas. A writer might compare and contrast the view from an airplane with the view from a train. As you read, notice whether the writer uses comparison and contrast effectively. Cause and effect, explaining the relationship between events, actions, or situations by showing how one can result in another. Remember that a cause is the reason for an action or event. An effect is the result of an action or event. Reading skill. The main idea is the central message, insight, or opinion in a work of nonfiction. The supporting details are the pieces of evidence that a writer uses to prove his or her point. Reread to help you identify the main idea and supporting details in a work. The main idea is the most important concept in an essay. The main idea may not be stated directly. It may be implied. The reader must then look at the supporting details to determine the main idea. Reread to help you identify the main idea and supporting details in a work. Note key details to decide what the main idea might be. If a detail does not seem to support that main idea, reread the passage to be sure that you have not misinterpreted it. If necessary, revise your assumptions about the main idea. I suggest you to reread the passages. By pausing and rereading the text, the main idea and supporting details often become clearer. In Single Room Earth View, astronaut Sally Ride takes on the difficult task of describing Earth from the perspective of the Space Shuttle, 200 miles above the planet. She points out landmarks on Earth from a new perspective and shows how that perspective changes a space traveler's feelings about the Earth. Check vocabulary. So, are you ready to read?